What's going on, guys? This is Spock and welcome back to my channel. I've got a new series here that I call Random Class Generator, where I go onto this website. I think it's called pickasset.com, and it randomly selects a class for you. Everything from the weapons, the attachments, the perks, the equipment, and even the kill streak rewards. So here's the class that it set up for me. It's the Galil with the reflex sight. The secondary is a crossbow. Then we got the Semtex, Flashbang, and C4. Perks include Scavenger, Sleight of Hand, and Second Chance. And then the killstreak rewards are the Valkyrie Rockets, the Rolling Thunder, and the Attack Dog. So let's get on to the video. You are watching a game of Team Deathmatch on Crysis, which is always a fun map. No, actually it's not. Very boring when I play this map. I think it's because it's so big that it's hard to, I guess, come encounter with another person, and the gameplay seems kind of slow. So you'll see that in this gameplay. It starts off pretty slow, but towards the end, just bear with me, and it gets kind of exciting. But really, the reason I'm coming to you today is because I want to tell you guys a story about this accident that my wife had and how we're getting screwed over. But before we do that, I want to tell you about the C4. I don't ever use C4 in this game, and I've been on the receiving end, but I'm terrible with the C4. I don't really use it effectively. I've been on the receiving end where, you know, I'm standing on the other side of a wall, similar to that wall right there, and some guy throws it over the wall and blows it up before it even hits the ground. So I know how it works. I just can't use it effectively, so I don't use it, and you probably won't see it at all in this game. Actually, yeah, I'm pretty sure you won't see it at all. But let's get back to the story. I'll tell you guys how this guy is screwing us. But let me set it up here. Basically, we were driving. My wife had just picked me up from work, and we were driving down a one-way street. And just kind of picture this in your head. It's a 4-lane, one-way street. We're going north, and 4 lanes of traffic. But at this time of the day, they open up the far right lane and far left lane, which are normally meters. They're parking meters. They open them up for rush hour traffic because it gets pretty hectic downtown, because that's where I work, downtown. It gets pretty hectic, so they open up those 2 lanes of traffic to make, you know, traffic, you know, go a little smoother. So we were in the far right lane, which is normally a meter lane, but it is a traffic lane at 4:30 in the afternoon. And this guy pulls up to the left of us. We're stopped at a stoplight. We're in the far right lane, and he is directly to the left of us. And we're waiting for the light to turn green. The light turns green, and we're going to continue forward. It's not a turning lane, so we're going to go forward, and we're going to turn right at the next light. Well, this guy's intention is to turn right at this light. He thought we were parked at the meter, which we weren't. We were at a stoplight, just like he was. And he turned right, and as you can imagine, turned right in front of us, made contact with our vehicle. So we had minor damage. I'd say pretty minor damage. We had like a dent and a scratch on our front driver's side bumper. But very minor damage, so it wasn't that big of a deal. And the guy was super nice. He got out of his car and was like, listen, that was totally my fault. I thought you guys were parked there. And we're like, nah, yeah, you were wrong. We weren't parked there. We were in traffic, and when the light turned green, we went straight just like you, and you turned in front of us. So like, yeah, I understand. So he owned up to the accident and said, you know, my fault, you know, here's my insurance information. Of course, he didn't take any of our insurance information because he didn't have any damage on his vehicle. Well, any more damage. I think his vehicle was pretty damaged anyways, where there was another accident maybe. His passenger side door was all scratched and dented, so I don't think he wanted our insurance information because it was hard to tell what kind of damage, if any, was done with this accident. So anyways, so he gave us all of his information except for his policy number. He gave it, or yeah, his policy number. He gave us his phone number and his address, and then he even had like a business card with his insurance agent's name and company on there. So he's like, I'll call you tonight. I know exactly where my policy number is. It's sitting on my computer desk at home. I can just picture where it's sitting. I know exactly where it's sitting. So let me call you tonight, and I'll give you that policy number, and we'll get that settled. And I said, okay, well, that's fine. Should we make a police report, though? And he's like, no, they won't even show up for minor accidents like this. I've tried it before. They don't even show up for minor accidents. We'll be sitting here all night. And the guy, he seemed like a pretty honest guy to me. So I took his word for it, and we didn't make a police report. Now I'm kind of wishing we did because, and I'll tell you why. So that night, he never did call me like he said he was going to. So the next day, I called him. And he's like, well, here's the situation. I was actually driving my daughter's car. And since I was driving her car, we can't go with my insurance company. We have to go with her insurance company, which I'm like, okay, no big deal, no big deal. So he's like, but here's the problem. My daughter is in boot camp right now, and she won't graduate for another 3 weeks or whatever he said. So we're going to have to wait for her to get out of boot camp because she has limited phone access, and she can't call the insurance company. She can't even get a hold of me, blah, blah, blah. She doesn't even know this accident happened, I guess. So I'm like, I'm not really gonna wait in 3 weeks because I don't know what my insurance company is gonna say or his insurance company. They're gonna be like, why'd you wait for so long? You know, we can't do it this long. So I went ahead and contacted my insurance company and put it in their hands. Basically said, here's his information, and that's what they do. I mean, that's why you pay your insurance company is to do all this, handle all this information for you. So I put all the information into their hands, and I said, you know, here's his information. Of course, only information I had was his initial information, which was his policy number, not his daughter's policy number. So I think that kind of made him mad, and maybe that's why he has changed his mind and saying that it's not his fault anymore. But that gets later on to the story. I think that's why he's changing his mind though is because I went through my insurance company and made things, I guess, difficult, even though I thought I made it easier for both of us by putting it into their hands. I mean, he was already admitting fault. I don't see what the big deal is, but anyways, so you know, about a month goes by, and my insurance company finally gets in touch with her insurance company, which I don't know why, you know, my insurance company didn't just say, well, screw this, he must not have insurance, you know, whatever it is, why is it taking so long? I don't know, but for me, it would have been like, well, then you're responsible for it. You're paying for it out of your pocket or whatever their process is. I would have just did that. Why wait for him or her to contact me? It got frustrating to me. But finally, we got in touch, and everything started going. I thought it was going pretty good until our insurance company contacted me and was like, actually, you know what? They didn't even contact me. I had to call them because it had gone on for so long that I had to contact them and say, what's going on? And they were like, well, here's the deal. He's saying it's not his fault, that you were actually at fault for this accident. And I'm like, okay, well, that's not the case. How do I appeal this? And they're like, you can't appeal this. Basically, you have to put it in your insurance company's hands. And basically, to make a long story short, I have to pay for the accident, pay for the damages, which actually I pay for the deductible. My insurance company pays for the damages. I am responsible for the $500 deductible, and then after that, my insurance company can then go after his insurance company or her insurance company. I keep saying his insurance company, but he's a low life and he was driving his daughter's car, so it's really it's her insurance company. But I know this is getting kind of confusing, but it is kind of confusing to me too. But basically, the only way my insurance company would go after her insurance company is if they paid out, which means that if it was less than the $500 deductible, then they wouldn't even have to pay out. Basically, I would be responsible for it, and they wouldn't even have to cut a check to me or the collision repair company. They wouldn't have to pay out at all. Basically, I would be responsible for the $400, and then I would have to take him to court. So luckily, it was over $500. It was like $523. So my insurance company has to pay $23, which means they have to go after his insurance company for their loss and for my loss, my $500 deductible. Plus, I just found out just this week that it's going to take I think she said 3 days for them to fix my car. So, because I think they have to match the paint or something. They have to paint something. So I have to get a rental car, pay that out of my pocket. So that's $500 plus another 200, $300, whatever it is, for a rental car for 2 days, 3 days. So it's kind of frustrating. I just hope that my insurance company is able to is able to collect the money that I am owed. But that's basically my story of how I got screwed. If there's one thing you guys can take from this, if you guys drive or when you guys drive, when you're old enough to drive, is always, if you get in an accident, always, always, always get a police report. This would have made my life so much easier if I just would have got a police report. Hopefully, I'll be able to update you guys in a couple days and say, yeah, well, I got my money back and everything is fine. And Mr. McGinnity, which is the guy that hit me, can just shove it up his ass. So, like I said, I hope you guys take something from this. Always get a police report if you have an accident. Thanks for watching my videos, and have a good day, guys. Peace.